All right. So for today's lesson, we're just going to go over something really simple. We're just going to go over Booleans, true or false stuff, right? So we're back on the website. We're just going to keep on going through the tracks to the syllabus that it provides. So go here in Python, go to syllabus. I gave you this first one already, so you should be done with that in a few days before we move on to the next number problem. And now we're going to do the Boolean one. This is really simple, pretty straightforward. The project's just going to consist of you returning true or false, given true or false booleans, right? So first, a quick little lesson. This will be just a very short video. All right. So if you have two variables, as shown on the screen, true variable and false variable, that's true and false, right? So here, if I try to print the true variable, it prints true because it's equal to true. If I try to print the false variable, it'll print false. We can combine this with conditionals, with operators like and, or, not, stuff like that, in order for us to get a better understanding. So if I do a not, if I say not true right here, then if I run it again, then you'll see that it'll print out false. So I'm saying, well, it's not true. Okay, well, if I delete that, I print out my false variable. Well, currently it'll just print out false, right? Right? False. But if I put not false, then that means it must be true, right? Something's not false, and it must be true. You can see that it prints out true. Okay, cool. That was pretty easy and simple. So let's go ahead and make it a little more complicated, and let's use and. So if something is true and something else is also true, then the result has to be true, right? Or in other words, let's say I am hungry and I am sleepy. So the question is, will I be cranky? Or am I cranky? It's a better way to phrase it. That would probably be true, right? If I am hungry, true, and I am sleepy, true, am I going to be cranky? Yeah, that's probably going to be true, right? So that makes sense. So if I run that and I print out my true variable, then you'll see that the output should be true. You can see that. Well, what happens if I put true and false? So if I do true and false, then something can't be true and false at the same time, right? This this is a phone, true. This isn't an Xbox, or this is an Xbox, that's false, right? So that's not possible. So then the output would be false, right? So if I run this again, you'll see I'll get false, right? Because something can't be true and false at the same time, right? That's not possible. Okay, cool. And we can do the same thing around false and false. Would give me, as you guessed it, false. Oops. Right? Because two falses make a false. Right? And then if I do true, false and true, so just the other way around in that previous example, then you'll see I get the same result, false. So these two are currently false, right? Okay. Well, what happens if I now use the OR operator? Okay. So if I do true or true, I print out my true variable. Oops. Sorry, just 1 second. What do you think I'll get? Well, if I have two things that could be true, then it's probably true, right? You can see here it's true. So it's either you're hungry or you're not, right? One of those has to be true, right? Okay, so if we keep that same idea and I say true or false, then that's saying, like the same example, are you hungry? You're either hungry or you're not, right? That's true. You are either hungry or you're not hungry. And so if I run this, says true or false, you'll see I get an output of true, right? Because it's only one or the other, and true will win every time. Okay. And same thing like the and, if you do false or false, well, the only option here is false. So now if I print my false variable, you'll see that I get false. So simple things like that. And then obviously you would combine this into if statements and else statements, else if statements. For example, if true variable is true, which it is, right? Because it's true or false. And if something is true or false and it outputs true, then print true. All right. And then we'll say else if, actually, I'll go ahead and print out my false variable as well. Else if the false variable is false, print false. And I put the exclamation mark there so that you can see the difference between what it's actually outputting, what I am printing, and what the console would print, right? So now if I run this, then you'll see I get true with the exclamation mark because the true variable is true, false because the false variable is false, and another false because I forgot to delete that. But now, I mean, we can make this a little more complex. We don't need to store this into a variable. You can if you like, if you want to make it cleaner, if this is super long. But you can also just copy this and replace that true variable, and it'll be the same thing. And we can actually add more logic here too by saying if the true variable is true and the false variable is false, then we can just go ahead and delete this and we can say true and false, right? Because this first part is true and that second part is false. So now if I run this, you'll see here, true and false. So that's just a small little lesson. Now we can get into the project. So moving over to the project, you can see here you're implementing just some basic rules for PacMans, some basic game rules, right? So when can PacMan eat a ghost? When he's in that powered up state, correct? When he's that big dot, that's the only time he can eat a ghost. Otherwise, he dies if the ghost touches him, right? So you need to write just a simple method, or sorry, simple function here that'll return either true or false, given that he's powered up or not, and if he's touching a ghost, right? You can see here, if he's not powered up, he didn't eat that big dot, and he's just a normal Pac-Man, and he's touching the ghost, then it returns false because he can't eat a ghost, right? Because he's just a normal guy. He's not powered up, and he's touching a ghost. He can't eat it, right? Okay, well, let's verify the score. Well, Pac-Man only scores in two different ways, by either eating the power-up pellet or just one of the smaller normal pellets, right? So this is a really simple one. You just need to check to see if he is, you know, touching one of those and returning true or false. Same thing here. You need to see if he loses or not, which is essentially the same thing as this first one, right? If he's eating the ghost, then this will pretty much determine if he wins or loses, right? So there's that. And then this last function will combine all three of them just to determine if he wins or not. So super simple, 4 really easy functions. Shouldn't take longer than I say 10 minutes to complete. Obviously, I'll post the skeleton code on PacMan and put the link. And I'll give the link to the website as well if you'd like to sign up and test out the code or move ahead if you like. Up to you. I really just need you to be able to pass these example test cases I gave you. And as long as those pass, that works for me.